At exactly 3:47 p.m. Eastern on November 15th, 2024, a single email landed in the inbox of Anthropic's government relations team that would fundamentally reshape America's approach to artificial intelligence. The subject line was deceptively simple: contract status update, immediate action required. Inside, the Pentagon's Defense Innovation Unit delivered a bombshell that sent shockwaves rippling through Silicon Valley within hours. Claude, Anthropic's flagship AI model, had been quietly blacklisted from all defense contracts, effective immediately. But Anthropic wasn't alone. OpenAI's GPT models, Google's Gemini, and nearly a dozen other leading AI systems found themselves suddenly persona non grata in the halls of the Pentagon. Contracts worth over $2 billion vanished overnight. Projects that had been in development for months were terminated with surgical precision. The AI companies that had spent the last 2 years courting defense contracts suddenly found themselves locked out of the most lucrative and strategically important market in America. The timing couldn't have been more jarring. Just 6 weeks earlier, Anthropic's Claude had been praised by Pentagon officials as a breakthrough in natural language processing for intelligence analysis. Military contractors had been integrating these AI models into everything from satellite imagery analysis to strategic planning systems. Some of the most sensitive defense applications were already running on the very AI models that were now being branded as security risks. Within Silicon Valley, the reaction was swift and brutal. Anthropic's stock price plummeted 12% in after-hours trading. OpenAI executives held emergency meetings that stretched past midnight. Google's government affairs team worked frantically to understand whether their military cloud contracts were still safe. The message was crystal clear. The era of unconditional trust between big tech and the Pentagon was over. What makes this blacklisting so unprecedented isn't just its scope, but its secrecy. Unlike previous government actions against tech companies, which typically involved congressional hearings, public statements, and months of political theater, this decision emerged from the shadows with no warning. No leaked memos, no whispered rumors in Washington corridors, no gradual policy shifts. One day, these AI models were integral to America's defense infrastructure. The next day, they were classified threats. The official Pentagon statement, released 3 hours after the initial notifications, was a masterclass in bureaucratic vagueness. Recent assessments of AI model security protocols have identified potential vulnerabilities that require immediate mitigation to protect national security interests. Translation: we found something that scared us enough to blow up billions in contracts and ask questions later. But the implications stretch far beyond defense contracts. These same AI models power the humanoid robots that were supposed to revolutionize American homes within the next 5 years. Boston Dynamics, Tesla, and dozens of smaller robotics companies had built their entire product roadmaps around integrating these now blacklisted AI systems. The Tesla bot, ETA, scheduled for consumer release in late 2025, relies heavily on neural networks that share architectural DNA with the banned models. Suddenly, the vision of AI-powered domestic robots became a national security question. If Claude and GPT can't be trusted with military intelligence, should they be trusted with access to American homes? The Pentagon's decision created a cascade of uncomfortable questions that the robotics industry wasn't prepared to answer. The economic stakes are staggering. Defense AI contracts represent the fastest growing segment of government technology spending, projected to reach $15 billion by 2027. But more importantly, these contracts serve as proving grounds for AI capabilities that eventually filter into civilian applications. Military validation has historically been the gold standard for emerging technologies. GPS, the internet, voice recognition, autonomous vehicles all followed the same path from defense labs to consumer products. Now that pathway has been severed. American AI companies find themselves cut off from their most important customer and validator. Meanwhile, defense contractors are scrambling to find alternatives to AI models they've spent years integrating into critical systems. The entire ecosystem that connects Silicon Valley innovation to Pentagon procurement has been disrupted in ways that will take years to fully understand. Industry insiders describe an atmosphere of paranoia and confusion. Engineers who had security clearances are being reassigned. Joint development projects are being audited and suspended. The collaborative relationship between tech companies and defense agencies, built carefully over decades, has fractured seemingly overnight. But here's what makes this story truly unsettling. Nobody outside the Pentagon knows exactly why these AI models were blacklisted. The official explanation explanations are carefully crafted non-answers. The real reasons remain classified, buried in intelligence reports that may not see daylight for decades. And that uncertainty is driving some very uncomfortable speculation about what the government actually discovered. The classified briefing that triggered this blacklisting reportedly contained a single phrase that changed everything: foreign neural pathway infiltration. 3 words that suggest something far more sinister than simple security vulnerabilities. Intelligence sources, speaking on condition of anonymity, describe a discovery that fundamentally altered how the Pentagon views AI systems developed by private companies. Here's what we know happened behind closed doors. In September 2024, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency began routine penetration testing on AI models used in sensitive military applications. What they found wasn't traditional hacking or data breaches. Instead, they discovered evidence that certain AI models had been subtly influenced during their training process. Not compromised after deployment, but corrupted at their very foundation. The implications are staggering. If an AI model's neural networks have been manipulated during training, every decision it makes, every analysis it provides, every recommendation it generates could serve foreign interests. It's not a backdoor that can be patched or a vulnerability that can be fixed. It's architectural compromise at the deepest level, but this is where the story gets truly uncomfortable. The same neural architectures that power these allegedly compromised AI models form the backbone of every major humanoid robot project in America. Tesla's Optimus robot, Boston Dynamics Atlas, Amazon's Astro, even the home assistant robots being developed by dozens of smaller companies. They all rely on transformer-based neural networks that share fundamental design principles with the blacklisted models. Suddenly, the Pentagon's decision takes on terrifying new dimensions. If military AI can't be trusted, what about the robots designed to live in American homes? The Tesla bot that Elon Musk promised would handle household chores could theoretically map your home's layout, record your conversations, catalog your possessions, and transmit that intelligence to foreign adversaries. Not through traditional spying, but through neural pathways corrupted before the robot ever left the factory. This scenario isn't science fiction anymore. It's classified intelligence driving billion-dollar policy decisions. The Pentagon has effectively declared that certain AI architectures represent existential threats to national security, and those same architectures were supposed to revolutionize how Americans live, work, and interact with technology. The robotics industry is in full crisis mode. Agility Robotics, which had planned to deploy thousands of humanoid workers in American warehouses, has quietly suspended its government contracts. Figure AI, backed by Jeff Bezos and Nvidia, is completely rebuilding its neural architecture to avoid Pentagon scrutiny. Boston Dynamics has assembled what insiders call a war room to assess which of their AI systems might be considered compromised. Meanwhile, China is watching with intense interest. While American companies scramble to rebuild their AI systems from scratch, Chinese robotics firms like UB Tech and Cloud9 continue advancing with neural architectures that American intelligence agencies now consider potentially weaponized. The irony is devastating. In trying to protect national security, the Pentagon may have handed China a massive competitive advantage in the race for physical AI. The economic consequences are already cascading through Silicon Valley. Venture capital firms are freezing investments in robotic startups that rely on blacklisted AI models. Defense contractors are terminating partnerships with AI companies. Stock prices for robotics firms have shed $40 billion in market value since the Pentagon announcement. An entire industry built on the promise of AI-powered automation is being forced to start over. But the deeper issue isn't economic, it's philosophical. We're witnessing the birth of AI nationalism, where artificial intelligence becomes as tightly controlled as nuclear technology. Countries are beginning to realize that AI systems aren't just tools, they're extensions of national power. And just like nuclear weapons, AI capabilities will increasingly be viewed as too dangerous to share freely across borders, as this represents a fundamental shift in how governments think about technology sovereignty. For decades, innovation flowed freely between countries. American companies used Chinese manufacturing, European research, and global talent pools to build products that served worldwide markets. But AI is different. AI systems learn, adapt, and make autonomous decisions that can affect millions of people. In the wrong hands, they become weapons that never fire a shot but can still devastate entire societies. The Pentagon Pentagon's blacklisting signals that America is prepared to sacrifice economic efficiency for technological independence. Other countries are taking notice. The European Union is drafting AI sovereignty legislation that would restrict American AI models in sensitive applications. China has already banned foreign AI systems from critical infrastructure. India, Japan, and South Korea are developing domestic alternatives to American AI platforms. We're entering an era where your smart home's capabilities will be determined not by technological advancement, but by geopolitical allegiances. The robot vacuum mapping your floor, the assistant scheduling your appointments, the security system monitoring your property, all will be constrained by invisible barriers of national security and international distrust. The most unsettling aspect of this transformation is its speed. 6 months ago, AI was seen as humanity's shared technological frontier. Today, it's becoming balkanized along national boundaries, with each country viewing foreign AI systems as potential Trojan horses. Used to the collaborative spirit that built the internet is being replaced by the zero-sum mentality that defined the Cold War. And here's the question that should keep you awake at night. If the Pentagon discovered something so alarming that they were willing to blow up the entire defense AI ecosystem, what exactly did they find? The answer remains locked in classified vaults, but the implications are already reshaping the world. We're not just choosing between AI models anymore. We're choosing between technological futures that may never be compatible with each other.